Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Very good morning. Okay, fine. So, is my screen visible to everyone? So, for the newcomers, means how many of you have joined the previous classes? Okay. So, we are discussing Consumer Protection Act 2019 today. Which I have already discussed in previous classes as well, and I have given the background of the act and what are the differences between the 2019 and 1986 act. So the salient feature of the act and what are the new things which came into force after 2019. So let us discuss again some salient feature of the act. So who is going to tell me one feature of the new act which was not there in the previous act? Can anyone tell me one feature of the act which was not there in the act of 1986? I have discussed all these things. One feature I am asking, not more than one. Am I audible? Very good. Anyone else? It covers e-commerce, isn't it? Didn't I discuss it? Now, the new act covers e-commerce transactions. Earlier also they used to deal with, but the provisions were not very clear. It was very vague because it was not covered by the Act of 1986. Now, the consumer complaints, those can be filed at a place where complainant resides at work. Now, you can file a complaint where you reside or you work, at both the places. Means it is more consumer friendly actually. Now it has been made more consumer friendly. The act which earlier it was not, now it has been made more consumer friendly, and now you can, being a complainant, and the definition of complainant is very important from exam point of view that we will be studying under the Bayer Act. So now the complainant can file where he works or he resides, both the places, work or resides or residence you can say. Then again, because e-filing was not there, there was not a provision under the Act of 1986 of e-filing. Now e-filing of complaint, that includes even the hearing of the cases, that can be because of corona also you can say now, because e-hearing is allowed, and now e-filing of the complaint, that is included hearing of the cases that can be done online and by video conferencing under the new act. Then I discussed about the main important reformation under the Consumer Protection Act was the establishment of what? Establishment of a regulatory authority. Can you name it? Can you name it? What regulatory authority I discussed in the previous class? A Central Consumer Protection Authority, isn't it? A Central Consumer Protection Authority, which is, in short, we can call it, it's okay, CCPA. We call it CCPA. That is important and that may be asked in exam. Central Consumer Protection Authority, which was not earlier. See, I have discussed twice, I think, in both the previous classes, but you are not able to answer. So kindly write it down that the Central Commission Protection Authority, which was not in existence, now 2019 Act, it has a regulatory authority like a competition commission, I told you. Then the jurisdiction, the pecuniary jurisdiction we discussed, pecuniary jurisdiction. Earlier, there were 3 forums, if you remember the old Consumer Protection Act, district forum or redressal forum you can say, then state forum, and then the central forum, right? Now the jurisdiction has been increased for 3 of them. Now the district form, in district form the complaints can be filed which values up to 1 crore. Then in state from 1 to 10 crores. And then you can say national form, and now we do not call it form, district form, now we call it district commission, state commission and national commission, and above 10 lakh if the value of the services or the goods is above 10 crores, 10 crores. So this is the pecuniary jurisdiction which has been changed under the new act. Got my point? Now under the new act, just note down the point which I am writing on the whiteboard. Now the consumers, they can get even the compensation for any harm after the use of any product. Even if a consumer has used the product and it or the services, he has availed the services but he was not satisfied with the same, even then he is under the definition of the consumer and he can file a complaint. And the very big change, mediation centers. Mediation centers. Now, under the new act, we have mediation center which have been established. Earlier, there was no provision of mediation. So, these were the things which differs from the. Now, we will study all these points in detail, or you can say where we can study the Bayer Act with the sections, and I have already started with chapter 1, which is about the act, introductory section, and the jurisdiction of the act, you can say. And I just discussed that now the act, it extends to whole of India, including, not excluding, including state of Jammu and Kashmir, right? Now, because only these 2 things are important, what the act is named as, and the second, the jurisdiction of the act, right? Now we can study under section 2. There are various definitions which I have already discussed. The definition of advertisement I have already discussed. What is the definition of advertisement? I have discussed advertisement. Okay, have you purchased Bayer Act? Do you have Bayer Act with you, or any soft copy or hard copy of that? You do not have. See, if you are not having Bayer Act, then you will not be able to understand. Okay. So please buy Bare Act or have a soft copy, because when you try to note down something on hard copy, then it will be it will be in your mind forever. If you do not note it down on a paper, if you do not write down, then you cannot remember it. And there are, so because this act is very new first of all, and you will hardly find any book on it or commentary, so at least we must have Bare Act with us, so that when I teach in the class, you can note down some point and then you can elaborate your own definitions with the help of the Bare Act. Okay. So if I am just reading or I am just teaching, and this means you have to participate, that is of no use. So I have discussed the definition of advertisement, which means any audio or video or visual publicity, any type of visual or audio publicity, any type of representation, which I have discussed. Even endorsement I have discussed in the class, what is endorsement and how now the new act is fixing the liability of the representatives, or you can say that the liability of the persons who are advertising the goods which are not for the which are not good for the public health. And the advertisement, it can be made by means of light, it can be made by means of sound, smoke, gas, or it may be made by the printed media or any electronic media, or maybe on internet website, or it includes any type of circular, any type of notice, means wherever you can see something in visual, audio, or in printed form, whether it is Facebook, whether it is Amazon or Flipkart or any other app which you use in your day-to-day routine. So any type of wrapper of toffee, you can say, or any label, or any type of advertisement, even on the invoice, or any such other documents that includes that is called advertisement. Now the second very important definition is about appropriate laboratory, and why this appropriate laboratory definition has been given, because there are laboratories established by central government, by state government. And why the laboratories are established? To check the quality of the product, because when the complaints are filed in district commission or state commission, or you can say national commission, then because government, they need to have a laboratory, because yes, if you may file a fake complaint so about the product or the services, so one need to check it into the laboratory whether the product was good or not. So appropriate laboratory means a laboratory or an organization. There are some organization also who works in the consumer rights, or they find the facts. They are like fact finding committee. They are kind of fact finding committee whether the product was good or not. So any laboratory or any organization, first it is if it is recognized by the central government. If it is recognized by the central government or by the state government, but if it is recognized by the state government, then it has to be subject to such guidelines as may be issued by the central government in this behalf. Means a state government recognized laboratory, it has to be under all the guidelines which will be notified by the central government to the state government. Third is established by or under any law for the time being. Maybe there are some laws, and under those laws there are some established laboratory, so those laboratories will also be valid. They will also be appropriate. They will be called appropriate laboratory if they are established by or under any law for the time being in force.